waiting for. But in the future, the greatest threat to our survival will not be men at all. Now the youth of tomorrow must face an enemy more devastating than any ever imagined.
Go, go, go! Move!
Troopers, with me!
Slytherin takes you to the front lines of the next frontier. Starship Troopers, Terran Command.
And here we are. This was exactly where we left it just over a year ago. This is where we announced Starship Troopers for the first time, and we were overwhelmed by the reaction, by how you guys out there reacted to the announcement itself. We are now a year later, and a lot of things have happened in the meantime, of course, both worldwide in the development of the game. But before we get there, let me first thank all the Starship Troopers fans. We know this channel, this Twitch channel, is mostly, dedicated to war games and to deep strategy games. So we are now broadcasting on the Facebook page, on the Starship Troopers official Facebook page. And I want to thank you and welcome you to the Slytherin channel. This is the second of a series of 4 showcases we are running. The first one we did last week was Distant Worlds 2. Today is Starship Troopers. We have a good hour to discuss Starship Troopers. I will have very shortly David Sherrock, executive producer of the game, connected with me from the UK. And then next week we have the new game being announced from the creators of Battlestar Galactica Deadlock, Black Lab Games, and in 2 weeks' time we'll have a bit more of a hardcore war game announcement with 2 new games being announced. But without further ado, let's discuss Starship Troopers. Right, Starship Troopers was announced a year ago, I said, and when we announced it, we were very keen in creating a very deep strategy game, a war game that was fully dedicated to hardcore players. Hence, the Aristocrats being attached to the project, right? The Aristocrats, the creators of Order of Battle, a deep turn-based war game with lots of depth, lots of difficulties as well. We were going to go for a very deep project, right? And then we announced the game, and a lot of people out there really, woke us up in a sense. So we had to sort of go back into the drawing board and rethink some of the game mechanics. Why? Because we wanted this game to be approachable by everyone. We wanted it to be a bit less convoluted, but more enjoyable, more or like faster game as well. So in terms of gameplay, in terms of how the game mechanics work, we went back to the drawing board and redid a lot of the core gameplay. That was exactly when, of course, COVID hit. And so the development team was slowed down by a number of issues, of course, brought by the pandemic. Hence, the game being delayed. We were supposed to release around summer, late summer last year. We're now back in, we're now in 2021, and we are about to announce you that the game is going to release towards the end of June this year. So this is the time frame we're looking at. But we're very, very proud of what we've achieved so far. We have brought into the project new development forces. We have a development team specializes in animations. So you're going to see a lot of that happening today. We have a new development team helping us with optimization, all external help to bring a lot of help to the actual completion of the project. So it took us a while to sort of rethink the project in a way, but we're very proud to show you where we are right now. Think about this though, the core gameplay of Starship Troopers is, the idea is to deliver a real Starship Troopers experience. So a lot of bugs, overwhelming waves of enemies, this constant fear of being defeated. And this represented on screen means that you have a lot of action going on. So if you see glitches in the clips we're going to show you, if you see problems with pathfinding or stuff that little animations that don't work or stuff like that, don't look at the detail too much. This is all part of the optimization we're going to go through at a later stage. What we want you to see today is the core gameplay, is the core of what the game will be and what we want to achieve with the game itself. Right, so first things first, let me call David in. Hello, David.
Hey, Marco, how are you doing?
All right, I can't hear you. Of course I can't hear you. Let me... Oh, okay.
Oh, hello, everybody else.
I can hear you now.
To hear me. Oh, hello, Marco.
Sorry, guys. All right, so David, executive producer of the project. What we're going to see today?
So what we're going to show you today, Marco, is four gameplay clips, the first of which you've already released earlier today. These are snippets from levels from the game played by our kind of lead designer at a medium difficulty level. So he does quite well. We expect many of our users, when they're playing this game, might do less well, but we're adding difficulty levels so that, as you say, everybody can get in there, have fun, kill some bugs. And if they want to, they can get killed by bugs. That's their choice.
Right. One of the things, we're also going to look at the storyline, right? How that fits within the overall story of the Starship Troopers franchise.
Yes. So we have a new storyline. We're kind of based time-wise. Starship Troopers timeline is a bit wibbly-wobbly, but we're kind of around Roku-san, before and after Roku-san at sort of 3. But yes, trying to pin down the film timeline is a fun exercise.
Right. Okay. Well, first things first, David. Let's jump in right into the first clip, which is I think the bridge one. If I'm not mistaken. So. Let's start from that. What we'll see is that we'll give a look at the full clip, with a bit of sound as well. Then we'll go back and rewatch it, and stopping into specific parts of the clip to show you specific strategic situations. So you'll have a deeper dive into how the game performs and how you'll be thrown into very specific strategic situations to resolve.
Precisely.
Right. Let's go. Right, so let's get some stuff out of the way first. Sound balance. I've seen a lot of comments about the music. The music is has been put on the clip afterwards. It's not in the game. This is just a clip that's just to replicate a FatNet news item. So don't worry about that. How hard the game is? I've seen a couple of questions about it. As David said, the guy is very, very good at it. The game is really hard, but we're going to put some easy mode on, so don't worry about that. So that's to get some stuff out of the way. David, what do you want to say about this clip?
Yes. So first of all, as I think people in the chat have been saying, this is kind of an ideal situation for Federation troopers against the Arachnid menace. There's a nice crossfire, there's a nice choke point. There's pretty much everything you might want. So a couple of things to notice. This, you've got rifle troopers, you got engineers with flamethrowers, and your snipers here who've just gone up who go up onto the high ground to get extra visibility, and they've got super long range to help suppress the enemy. And then our guy here, he basically, those bugs have only got one way across that bridge dam, so he's got to block it with his engineers to put down some flames, and then use the put the main fire from the side. So you see the grenade going off as well. So what he's thinking about here is basically, right, I've got this perfect situation. I can kill these bugs all day if I want to, but how do I move forward? So you'll see him now start basically moving his engineers forward in pairs. One flaming, the other one moving forward. The other one's flaming, the other one's moving forward. All the while the rifle troops and snipers put down support fire. So he's inching forward to get towards the next bit. Then he gets a new challenge of how do I deal with this in the open. And also you can see our little hoppers start to come along and just say hi, just a gentle hello. This is one of the good reasons to bring along your infantry with your Marita Mark 1s, because they are very good at taking hoppers out of the air and bringing them crashing down to earth. You've also noticed the MX-90 grenades kicking off as well, to take out any bug concentrations down.
Yeah, stop 1 second maybe here. A couple of comments here on the animations. Again, I want to reinforce the fact that we are looking at the beta. So stuff like the gore, the animations, the death animations, all that kind of stuff is being worked on, and this is not final. We are kind of used, for whoever's following us, they know, but we've got a lot of new people in the chat. We're used to show stuff, and we're not we're not the kind of company that just does like CGI, very cool CGI stuff. We want to show gameplay, we want to show stuff. So what we wanted to show today is really the strategic situations you've been encountering, the units and all stuff that you're going to go through within the game. All stuff like animations, flocking stuff, and all that kind of stuff will be worked on as we speak. And this is really the aesthetic type of stuff that is going to be worked on later on as well. So yeah, sorry, David.
Yep, that's all right. That's good. Thanks for clarifying. So yeah, these guys have worked their way across. Some bugs coming in. There's the kind of sat there idling for a bit. That's one of the bits that will be a bit more flavorful in the final game. But you can see basically now using both these engineers in tandem to lock down 2 vectors of attack. Well, his guys are getting a little visit from the hoppers in the background, but he seems to be doing quite well. So this kind of basically, he's achieved his first objective now. He's got himself across the bridge. He's dealt with that first horde. And now he basically needs to go and deal with that hive where all those bugs are coming from. So he's going to get himself a secure platform, watch his fields of fire. So people have been asking, is there friendly fire? There is friendly fire for explosives. So if someone starts lobbing grenades, your friends aren't going to thank you for it. For the infantry, but what you don't see that much in this one because the guy's quite good at playing the game, is that you can't start shooting through your friends. So if you line some infantry up in a choke point and put some guys behind you, they're not going to be able to shoot people because you can't shoot through your mates. And here you go, as people point out, this is where to get rid of this bug hive, the only way to get rid of bug hive is to get in there and get messy. So he's sending his rifle troopers in there to clear it out, while he covers the back with his mates. It is possible to zoom in. We're playing on pretty much the furthest you'll see to zoom out, because again, as Marco said, we're trying to give you an idea of the strategic and tactical situations. So the numbers on each unit. Okay, so on the top you'll see, as people spotted, experience and veterancy. So as units kill bugs, they gain veterancy, which unlocks more abilities. And the numbers underneath them are it's kind of a helpful guide for us at the moment. It's basically their height. It's the height that they're standing on. So those guys have got 4 standing on 4 tiles above the ground. So you get a bit of an insight into development practice there.
Yeah. Are there different weapon type, David?
Yeah. So each squad comes with different weapons. So your basic rifle infantry is armed with your Marita Mark 1, your MX-90 frag grenades, but they also come with the underslung shotgun. They can also run around with high-X versions of those grenades as well. Whereas your snipers carry, from the first movie, if you remember, the sniper gun with a great big zoom rifle the guy used to take down the guy who's been nicked by a hopper. They use that, which has the sniper zoom you saw there, but also kind of a semi-automatic mode as well.
Right, so this was the first little clip we wanted to show you. We're now going to watch a second one. And this is more of a completely different situation.
Yes.
What we show you is 4 different situations within the game. And then we can talk about, all the different like overarching concept behind every single scenario, what is an attack scenario, what is a defense scenario. We're trying to answer some of these questions. So let's look at this second video, and please don't listen to the music if you don't if you think it's too loud. I have to say that rewatching the clips, it does look like it's super easy. I think I've played this mission about 55,000 times and never managed to get to that point. So I think we're delivering wrong message here, David.
Doing the clips. Yes.
A lot of questions. Did you take some notes, David, and to answer some of them as well?
I took a few. Yes.
Very good. Very good.
Yes.
All right. So what did we just saw?
So what we saw was basically a mission at night, as people spotted. It's basically kind of halfway through this mission, where basically you need to capture the radio base and factory inside there. Radio base is a really important part of the game. Qualash's atmosphere isn't great. Lots of canyons, struggle to get in contact with the fleet. So you need your radio bases to get reinforcements and call new troops down. So that's what he's come here to do. He's basically here to secure the area, get that radio base online, and clear out the bugs. The base you sort of see halfway through as someone captures it. You also see at the end the dropships come down that are summoned as reinforcements. So this one, you've got a couple of different units this time. You got the engineers here again, which he does well with here, less well with later on. Some basic riflemen, Marines Mark 1 guys helping out, and the sniper again up on the elevated platform. As we saw in the last level, this is kind of your meat and drink. If you put down your covering fire, get in there, pushing back. And also coming in the background there, you got 2 squads of heavier infantry who are armed with the more advanced Maritas, which is good because you've got to be worried for things like plasma bug, grenadier fire like this, that make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing with your troops. If those engineers keep walking forward, they're toast. But our player is a bit better than that. He bugs them out of there so he doesn't catch a plasma to the face. So you roll on. I think you'll find there we go. If he kept walking there, he was roller toast. So at the same time, these bugs get involved. There's not too many of them. It's still quite a narrow thing. It's hard for large warrior bugs to get a good space to bite you in the face when it's got a narrow zone, but he still lost a good half of his squad there. So we move on. The guys take control of the spotlight here. As people notice, this is nighttime gameplay, so line of sight is very limited. But use of a spotlight, it can extend your line of sight very nicely, and you can see those bugs waiting for them over there. Get a good early sighting on them. So they again set up nice overlapping fields of fire. Don't try and fire through your friends. Try to fire around them. It's the best way to go. And there you go. Very nicely. So yeah, walk up there. That's the little radius there. See, there is a radio base radius. It gets captured, and you get sight around it. And later on, you'll see some new guys come in. Except rally points and quick retreats. Your quick retreats are generally to those bases. So if you try and do a quick bug out, you'll basically run back to your nearest captured base, or your nearest commanding officer who can stop you running too far. So you see here they're doing okay. They've suppressed the bug. They're nearly to the finish. They've nearly closed it down. He's doing quite well. But he makes the mistake of maybe looking a bit too deeply into the dark. And here come more of them. So here, classic situation. There's lots of bugs incoming. They've got a big open door. They're coming in to eat you in the face. So he's now got to do a very quick, strategic choice of he's got to do the classic thing, get his engineers up front, then try desperately to get his rifle troopers around the sides, set up a kill zone, set these bugs down. The engineers do a good job at the beginning, but shall we say they die as noble citizens very shortly. Because a lot of people start coming in, and they do well for a brief moment, but then less well. But some good use of grenades there to hit people back. And you clear it through and secure the area, and reinforcements come down. And that hopper gets downed. And there we go. He's lost a few guys, but the base is secure, objective achieved.
Yep, there's a lot of questions, so towards the end of the stream, we'll answer some of these questions. We'll open a Q&A session, and hopefully some of these extra questions will be answered too as well, so save them as well for later, and make sure that you join us for the last bit of the stream as well. Right, so next clip, this is the one that we've showed already with the trailer and some more voiceover as well in some of the news today. It's the canyon, and so let's play that for now and go back to that to have a quick look at the strategic decisions there. Right, so that was a lot of action. So want to lead us through a bit of the situations there, David?
Of course. So yeah, people have already seen this, and I think kind of guessed what the main surprise here was. A very sudden tanker. Everyone likes a sudden tanker.
Yeah. Let's replay it now, see what happens.
Cool.
Can individual units in a model die separately?
Sorry, what was that?
Individual units die, or is it just your squad?
No, yeah, if your squad is attrited down as you start taking damage, and we'll go into that a bit later. So yeah, first of all here, it's basically on a patrol. You have to secure some territory further on in the map. This one, you got new troops on in the background there, or you got two sets of 2 Rocketeers and a radio operator there who's just helped call down those new infantry in the background. But oh dear, we've got a problem. Rather overcommitted here, thinking just going to shoot some simple little chariot bugs. Better get out of the way before that tanker makes meal out of us. So the guy who's got to fall back, set up a defensive line. The Rocketeers have got to focus on that tanker. Here they get very lucky. The acid just misses them. The acid spray finishes just short of those guys. These guys don't do quite as well. But interesting thing that's happened here is from the north there, you'll see a rather lot of warrior bugs coming down. And if that force had hit at the same time as having to do with that tanker, the guy would be in trouble. So what he's done is used one of the abilities of his rocket troops and put down a great big firewall there. So he's dropped a huge, great set of napalm there to block the bugs at the back. But they're obviously now released and coming in. But with the tanker down, it's just one set of force to deal with. And yeah, the tanker does do quite a lot of damage. Everyone who got breathed on there died. That force had 12 men, I think, and has 5 now. So there were 7 guys. In a melty mess. So definitely. But yeah, and here you go. This is sent by the radio operator here. It basically, because I've said the Qualash has a dodgy atmosphere, you need radio bases to call down reinforcements, or a radio operator to punch through the interference and call down reinforcements in the field.
David, I need power armor.
The power suit troopers do rock up. Yes, we don't show them here, but they do rock up in the game.
Yep. Soundtrack, I can answer that one. We have a new soundtrack for the game, so there's new set of music. We're also looking at having some original music from the movie. This is not the music. Neither of those is the music you're hearing in the clips. The clips is just like marquee music for the clips.
Yep.
Base building, David, how that works? How is how's that integrated?
Yes. So as you can see, both games are very much about walking forward and shooting people, but it's very much a case of take your land and hold it. You're the mobile infantry. You're not there to dig in and hold everything. You're there to move out and keep moving and push the bugs back. But we do have base building parts of it. So in each bases, you'll have landing zones that you can call down dropships onto, and you can also, within those bases, build technology buildings that will unlock new troops and unlock abilities for those troops. And also, people are also asking about engineers. Yeah, there's an engineer unit who can, out in the field, build things like heavy machine gun turrets and landmines and all these kind of fun things to set up nasty zones for bugs to die in.
Yeah, David, what level of gore are we expecting?
I'm hoping people die horribly. I'm certainly a 16. I think 18 might be pushing it. Certainly a 16.
All right. Right. Let's look at the fourth clip then. That's the city clip.
Yes, this is kind of the last of the ones we were showing.
You're absolutely right. We end up with a classic, the tanker in the base. So they lose at this one.
I'm sure some people survived. I'm sure somebody survived that.
David, what did we just see, and anything like in particular you wanted to address here?
So there's a couple of interesting points in this one. So it kind of starts off as kind of a reasonably stereotypical thing. If you look like you've got a nice solid defense back there over on the bridgehead, and they send out some troops to have a scout around, see what opportunities there are, with some bugs. The kind of attack force we've seen in a few of these videos of engineer, infantry, and sniper. So they're going down. They're quite confident. Okay, there's a few bugs, but we know this guy can deal with them. So he uses his grenades and his flames well. So he's go out, take his snipers there and get up on top of that building for an extra line of sight, see what else is around, see what opportunities he's got to find weaknesses in the bugs. And unfortunately, what he sees is actually quite a lot of bugs. So his snipers there make a very sensible choice. If there's only one way down out of here, that's that backwards. So they're gone. The engineers see similar. The riflemen, I'm not sure they're going to make it out of there alive, chaps. But they serve the Federation well. Well done them. So yes, the snipers are going to bug out, take up high ground at the back near the HMG turrets. Engineers are going to dig in over on the left. And this is kind of what you might see quite a bit of. Rather a lot of very nasty stuff coming forward to eat your guys in the face. Again, this is a decent defensive position because there's only so many warriors can get through there. In the background, you'll see the heavy infantry guys just leveling up because they're lobbing rifle grenades from the underslung rifle grenade launch on the Marita over the top because they can't shoot through the guys in front of them, they can shoot over them. And then over on the right, you'll see lots of bad stuff coming in. So it's a decent setup this guy's got here. He's got two HMGs on high ground, snipers on high ground, lots of infantry. He's holding this point quite well. He seems to be doing all right. But then in comes the next wave, which again hits quite hard. Yeah, doing fine. It's starting to go a bit less. That hopper's picks someone's head off of there, I think. The plasma bug starts doing a bit of disrupting. It's all going a bit nasty. Just missed. So he's falling back. It's a managed retreat. This is very orderly. This is very solid, managed play until, well, yes, the classic trick of just how do those tanker bugs get there? And he's going to cause now a frantic reassessment of the situation from our player, as he realizes that his main baseline is about to be turned into so much ash, and he's lost his right flank. His left flank is holding, so everything's holding. Quick attack! So you see some guys coming over the top, but yes, it's all rather gone wrong there, and it's up to him now to try and re-establish control of that area.
David, this is quite a lot of stuff, but we've seen kind of some units in the game. Is this all? Is there more? Can you tell us a bit more about the variety of units you will find in the game?
Yeah, so a couple of things you haven't seen here, which people are obviously keen about, is that you haven't seen the guys in power suits, which are the guys from the animated movies, Traitor of Mars and that kind of thing, and also the M11 Babar Marauders, which you'll see in some of the screenshots. You haven't seen them either. But they're kind of cool, quite keen. So, here we go. There's our M11 Babar using his flamethrower to turn that bug hole into so much grave. They kind of turn up a bit later in the series to add a very happy thing. So, is your rifle troopers? You'll notice they're in a slightly different formation. They're kind of in a defensive formation there, up that ramp. Lots of line of fire, taking on those tiger bugs down the bottom. What do you think? And then here, rocket troopers combining together to lay waste to the thing and try and get up all the way up to that rather large plasma bug to deal with it. And people might also notice some plasma grenadiers tucked away in the background there as well. And a scorpion bug if you're looking really closely.
Yep. That's a lot of variety. I think that when we try to create this set of different situations, we look at the units and the set of units that we've created and place them in a position to actually generate more tactical, strategic options. And that's very much part of the scenario design of the missions, and this is taking quite a long time. Actually, I know we've got a full team dedicated to that. One of the things that we've just briefly touched on, and I'd like to sort of cover a bit more now, David, is the storyline. Where do we stand? What is the story, and what is the campaign looking like right now?
So we find ourselves on the planet Qualasha, which you may have heard from the stream announcements earlier today. Qualasha is an outer rim planet. It's a mining planet. It was quite quiet. It was a place where the Federation didn't really care about. It's just where people sat around, dug rocks, got on with life. But now the second bug war is kind of ramping up, and the people in the Federation kind of like some of those minerals from those mines. Thank you very much. And it just also happens that there's now a bug infestation there as well. So now is the time for the MI to come in, suppress that infestation, and make sure that the vital supply line of minerals can make it out to the fleet, so we can build their new machines of war. So where we start, you'll start the game essentially with a little bit of a taster of Klendathu, and the taster of Klendathu, as we found, is mostly dying. But then you're into Kwalasha as it's just a small bug infestation. Anyone can deal with it. But I'm sure you can guess that from there it all rather goes well. It has varied levels of success from that point. With it's down to the player to react to both some interesting decisions from Fleet, from Federation, from MI hierarchy, and also bug treachery, as you might expect. So yeah, but people ask, we're very much in the film universe here. So I think from film timeline, is that we're around Rokusan a bit afterwards. It's kind of enough wibbly wobbly approximation to where we are.
Yeah. One of the things that popped up, I think it's very interesting to cover. We've got to sort of, face that game modes. How much gameplay are we planning to have in the game?
So the main part of the game is a 21 mission long campaign, which has got to take quite a few hours to get through. The first missions are pleasant little combat patrols, nothing much to do with that. No one's scared of that. Later missions, you've got problems, and we're expecting people to take a little while to solve those particular scenarios as they progress, as the bugs get ever so closer to your face. Then also we'll have kind of a numerous skirmish scenarios. Skirmish is a catch-all term. Some of them will be kind of almost assault course challenge scenarios, like the boot camp. Basically, go in there. We'll try and help you learn how best to use your units. Where then others are kind of speed runs. How fast can you get through this level? Others are kill them all. How fast can you kill all the bugs? Others are inverse kill them all. How long can you survive for?
Yeah.
To give that bit of challenge to the map, to each map.
You won't be able to play bugs. Play as the bugs,
you
right?
Want to be able to play as the bugs.
So we're not planning multiplayer.
It's humans only. The bugs are ineffable, I'm afraid. Our only brain bug is dead, as we know from Mission 3, so you can't understand the bug.
Yeah, I think the multiplayer aspect of such an unbalanced game would be it's just a very different headache to have from a development perspective, right, David?
Yes. Yeah, and also, to be honest, the bugs are angry. What they are generally is very angry lunatics have probably taken a few too many drugs. So their general strategy is run at you and bite you in the face. It's not that much fun to play as a human to control them. Yeah. In all honesty, they perform much better as ineffable enemies.
One question I've seen is supply. How does that work?
So it's not a hardcore war game. So there's no supplies or runs. There's no trucks you need to run up with ammo. We want people to keep fighting, not having to worry about which war they're fighting in which bit of the east. But you do have limits on what type of troops you can deploy, where you can deploy them, and that's down to what you build in your bases. Our intention is that if you can play a mission like with a very balanced force, or you can go back and play the mission specializing really heavily in one particular type of unit with more base tech for that unit, and we want people to play it through differently and hopefully get a different experience as they go through and say, I'm just going to go all snipers all the time and see what happens.
Yeah, in answering one of the questions, we are not planning to have any clips from the movies. This is a whole different storyline, so it wouldn't make much sense to sort of add clips from the original movies in the game itself. Other questions? Mod support? That's not planned, right? For the moment.
No, there's no plans for mod support right at the start. We're basically going to focus on get the game done, ready, and then depending on how things do, that might be opened up. But
Yeah, this is
to start.
Anything that we don't say is going to be in the main game at release. It doesn't mean that we won't add it later. I mean, if you know how Slytherin works and does strategy games, we tend to sort of add a lot of content after release as well. So it's going to, some of the stuff you ask for is going to happen at some point. And what we want to do is really deliver a game that is fun, is enjoyable, is easy to pick up and play, but hard enough to keep you engaged for long enough.
Yes.
DLCs, well, you guys will tell us if there's DLCs depending on how the game works. We have plans to add more content later on. I mean, the storyline can go anywhere. There could be any sort of setting, and and we've got we're investing quite a lot of resource in this project. So we definitely hope they will be live after launch. Definitely. For a full game release, we are looking at end of June at the moment.
Yep.
Towards the end of this stream, a link with beta will be posted, so you are now able to subscribe to the beta. This is done on the slytherin.com/beta URL. You just have to apply, and we will be adding beta testers in batches, so don't expect we accept everyone at the same time. How we work is that we add waves of beta testers as we go, so that we fix stuff, we move forwards with new beta testers, so that fresh eyes can always catch the shortcomings and such.
We use our beta testers very much as a development path, not a here, come and play our game bit. We really want people who will actually help us make the game better. We do listen quite a lot to the community, so we've got a good reputation about that. So if you like what you see and you want to contribute to this, join the beta, because there's going to be a lot of work to be done. Other questions, maybe a little bit of extra time. Yeah, I think someone was asking earlier about kind of what's the general gameplay of the scenario. So all the scenarios fall into kind of three categories and/or combinations of those categories. So you have the classic attack one, where you've got a base, and you're having to push forward, kick some bugs out, or recapture a place. You got the defense ones, where you've got bad stuff coming towards you, and you need to kind of hold it at the walls, or hold it at as many walls as you can within the time limit. And the things like the commando missions, which are you're out there in the wilds by yourself. There's not much communication with base. Do what you can, especially as people have seen the underground missions, where you've been sent into bug tunnels to flush out all kind of nasties. Those kind of baseless missions. But a lot of the missions actually kind of flip between them, all three of those forms. So you might start out walking around with a few units to find a location, but then that will transfer into a epic defense of a redoubt somewhere in the wilderness.
A couple of questions about voice actors I've seen. We are planning to have, of course, the storyline being told through, cutscenes and such.
We would like to know more, yes.
It's definitely going to happen.
Yes.
Only English. Well, in terms of localization, we're still on the fence. We are not. We know that a number of languages are coming. We don't know which ones yet. Yep. And it's vastly based on the number of players in the single countries. But if you look at our most recent releases, you kind of figure out what languages we translate the games in usually.
One thing I do want to go into is some people asking about cover and things like that. So the cover mechanic isn't kind of like you're in soft, you're in hard. It's either you're either behind stuff or you're not, because almost all the bullets do have scans, projectile scans. So if someone fires a bullet, there's a reasonable chance it's not just like this. You fire a bullet, roll a dice, it hits or not. So each trooper has a kind of accuracy of I'm firing into that space. And if you're a big target, there's a good chance I'm going to hit you. If you're a tiny target, there's a good chance I'm going to miss. and if you're behind a wall, there's a reasonable chance I'm going to hit that wall instead. So it's kind of live, dynamic way of doing it rather than the statistical way of doing it.
Yeah, I can see a lot of repeated questions, so maybe stuff that we've already answered for someone who's just joined or joined later. I urge you to go back and re-watch the stream to see the answers to these questions. Afterwards, we'll upload this as a VOD, so just don't worry about that. We'll be showing that you'll be able to get back to the stream and have your questions answered. I can see a lot of questions about modding, multiplayer, players bugs, and all that kind of stuff. So just so that we don't recover all the stuff again. A couple of other things I wanted to say. The game is, of course, on. There's a Steam page available. You can wishlist the game. You can follow the game so that we, keep being updated about the product. Remember that you can follow Slytherin social media channels to. As well, being updated about what happens. I mean, we have been kind of silent for a period of time. Now we're going to post more information as we go. So lots of stuff about the story, the characters, how the development is going, updates on the beta, more information about strategic situations and all that kind of stuff. So don't worry about that. We'll be keeping you posted a bit better in the next few months before release. Anything else you want to say, David?
I just want to go a couple. Mr. Sprout or Mrs. Prout, I don't know, is asking in the chat about how you replenish troops and heals damage. Yeah, basically, your standard rifle trooper has a squad of 12 people. As they die, you can either use your radio operator to call in reinforcements or head to your base and call in reinforcements from fleet. He'll come in and drop some new guys to join up to that platoon.
All right, so I think that we're kind of done. We're going to upload this later on the Twitch and YouTube channel, so you're going to be rewatching it as many times as you want. And from now on, we'll be giving you more information about the product. So don't worry about that. Thank you, David, for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you next week as well. David is going to join us next week at the same time on Tuesday. We have the reveal of the next product. The next title developed by the creators of Battlestar Galactica Deadlock. I almost actually said the title, so
you did. I was waiting for you to say it.
Thank you for joining us, David, and we'll see you next week. And for you guys, whoever want to join us, we have a tea time stream on Thursday at 4 o'clock UK time. This is where we do a recap of what's happening during the week. It's a very relaxed chat with we usually have guests and stuff happening, and it's also release day for Field of Glory 2 Medieval. So there's a lot happening. We know that you guys are following that appointment with loyalty, so we'll be there next Tuesday for another stream, another reveal stream. Again, remember to follow our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, and make sure that you keep yourself up to date on what's happening in the Slytherin family. Thank you very much for joining us, and I will see you next time.
In every age, there is a cause worth fighting for. But in the future, the greatest threat to our survival will not be men at all. Now the youth of tomorrow must face an enemy more devastating than any ever imagined.
Go, go, go! Move!
Troopers, with me!
Slytherin takes you to the front lines of the next frontier. Starship Troopers, Terran Command.